In this module, we're going to explore the constant radius fillet. Now there's a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and hop into Inventor and play around. So we're using the same advanced fillet 1 file, and I've carried this one on from the end of the last module. So we have a full round here, and we also have a full round here on this face. So what we want to do is we want to take a look at constant radius fillets, some of the various options and how we can use them. I do want to note that there is a quick pop-up menu. When you select an edge, you'll automatically get the create fillet option next to it. Now keep in mind that that's a great option if you know which edges you're going to fillet, but since we're exploring everything right now, we're going to go up to the modify tab on our ribbon and select fillet. Now edge fillet is selected by default, and the tab for constant is also selected by default. So there are various options that we want to explore in here. So we're going to talk about this center section here where we select edges and change the radius value and also change the curvature. But I do want to mention all the other options here first. So we have a selection mode, and we have a section that's called solids. So over here, the selection mode allows us to do things like grab edges and apply fillets to them. We can also remove edges. Go ahead and take a look at this. We also have loops, which will allow you to grab an entire closed loop. It doesn't matter if it has tangency on the edges, it'll grab the entire loop. You can see that we can carry on along the part and grab different loops in different areas. We also have feature. Now this is very handy, especially when you have things like this extrude cut right here. We could select that feature and apply a fillet to all the edges. So these are very handy options here. Let's go ahead and cancel this dialog box and start the fillet operation again. So now we want to take a look at the options down here. All fillets, all rounds, as well as the solids button and what that actually means. If you're working in a multi-body part environment, well, we have two solid bodies here. And if we're working in that environment, we can dictate which solid we want to focus on. Now in this case, the arrow here is white, and that means that we only have a single selection. If we show solid 2 by right-clicking and changing its visibility, we now have this colored red or orange, depending on what color your screen looks like. And then we can dictate which solid we want to focus on to apply the fillets. And then it goes back to the normal selection process. So now let's talk about all fillets and all rounds. When we select all fillets, it grabs all internal corners left on the model. So this is pretty helpful because it allows us to quickly and easily grab all edges that are internal that we might want to apply a fillet to. The all rounds grabs all external edges that we might want to apply a fillet to. So this means that you can grab all fillets and all rounds and quickly apply a fillet to every edge on the model. So this is great if you want to apply, for instance, a consistent radius across the entire part for something like just deburring the edge. If the edges are too sharp after they're machined, you could throw this small radius fillet on all of them very quickly by just grabbing these selections. So now that we've seen some of those options, let's take a look at actually applying a fillet. So the first thing that we want to explore is the selection process. So the first thing I want to do is select an edge and note that it's applying a fillet to that edge. I can go around and I can select multiple edges and we'll get a preview on the screen, and you can see how it handles applying fillets in the corners. I'm going to just simply move this out of the way. I'm going to change the option to auto fade. So now as we look at this, we can go around and we can grab any number of fillets we want and keep applying fillets till we get the desired result. Now this allows us to focus on certain areas. We don't have to do all fillets or all rounds. We can focus on one specific feature or one specific area. Another benefit that we have here is we can click to add, and this allows us to pick a secondary set of edges, and we can even apply a different fillet radius here. So this is great because you can apply multiple radius fillets directly in the single feature, and you can carry this along all the way around the model and apply them all in one single feature. So as we go down the line, we might want to click to add a new and put it here, and maybe this one's going to be 06. And then we can just carry on along the model, applying new fillets as needed. So again, this is a very handy option because it allows us to apply these fillets of different radius values all the way along the model. So now I want to talk a little bit about this option here for tangency or smooth G2 continuity fillet. And to do that, I'm going to OK this operation, and I want to hide solid 1. I'm going to go to my front view and I want to take a look at this feature. Now if I rotate this around, one thing you're going to note is that there's a different angle on these faces from the starting point to the ending point. Now when you talk about applying a fillet that has a G2 continuity, what that's saying is it's not only tangent to the edges or the faces here, but it also has an equal curvature relation. And that changes depending on the angle of the faces. So let's go ahead and apply that and see what it looks like. So we're going to apply a constant radius fillet and we're going to make it 0.125 and we're going to look at this from the front view. So we get a preview here. We might need to roll it down just slightly and go over to a back view. It'll give us a better view of this fillet. So as we look at this fillet has tangency on both edges. And because the angle is different on the faces from the start to the end, the fillet is actually wider on the back side than it is the front side. Now if we change this to have a smooth continuity, it changes the shape of the fillet. Now in this case, it doesn't look that drastic, but is actually making a big difference. If we make this fillet value larger, the difference will look a bit more.